Hello, everyone, and welcome to Suntrup Field here at DeSmet Jesuit High School in Creve Coeur, Missouri. I'm Todd Panula alongside Andrew Marshy Marsh, and we are here to bring you today's exciting Central Midwest Football League action between your Missouri Cyclones and the Central Illinois Cougars. Marshy, it's been a little bit of a break for those of the audience at home that don't know. We broadcast Maryville hockey together, and we've had a little bit of a break after too early of an exit from the national tournament on that side, but it's good to see you again.
It's good to see you, Todd. I'm excited for today's football game. Should see a lot of offense today from the Cyclones, so I'm excited. First home game of the season, and we have a very nice day out here in Creve Coeur, Missouri.
Yeah, offense is the name of the game for the Cyclones. In 2 games, they've scored 60 points, only allowed 16. Unfortunately, the offense wasn't quite there in their first game of the season as they dropped that one, but then they won in impressive fashion to improve to 1-1 in last week's contest. Similarly, the Cougars also come in at 1-1, but they've spread things out a little bit more. They've got 31 points on the season, but have allowed 37. And for those of you watching the stream, the Cougars are on the far sideline. They have fewer bodies over there, so I got to figure, Marshy, that it's going to be a little bit of old school football. There's going to be some guys playing both ways for the Cougars.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see both sides of the ball for these guys on the other side of the field for the Cougars, but when you look at this game as a whole, we'll see if it comes down to a war of attrition and see what their stamina can be because, after 4 quarters of play, they're gonna have some tired bodies on that side of the field.
Yeah, for sure, and obviously a higher tempo offense run by the Cyclones, so knowing that they can run in some fresh bodies here and there, get substitutes in, they're going to look to take advantage of something like that and put points on the board. So they've got the 15 minutes up on the clock. They're running the hype video right now. The Cyclones gathered towards midfield, getting their last-minute instructions, getting themselves pumped up here for this afternoon's contest.
It's nice to go to a football game and not be freezing cold, Todd, as, of course, it is the springtime here. And we just had the XFL here in St. Louis, so football is definitely in this city's blood, and I'm excited to continue that spring football season here live right here at the DeSmet Jesuit. Should be a fun one today, Todd.
Kind of a neutral site for both of these teams. Normally the Cyclones play their home games at Lutheran St. Charles, but there was a scheduling conflict, so DeSmet was kind enough to play host here today. As you mentioned, Marshy, absolutely gorgeous weather. Nice actual springtime weather. We don't normally get very long of this. It's usually like a week and then maybe right into summer. But
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, though, if it snowed tomorrow. That's just how this weather is here in St. Louis. But today it's a little overcast. No wind by any means. I guess slightly breezy, but for the most part it's good football weather, and we're all excited to watch what hopefully will be a Cyclones victory today.
So Cyclones are going to start off on the defensive side of things as they will be kicking the ball away. Cyclones in the black. They'll be going right to left on your screens. Cougars left to right. And we always seem to run into this at least one game a year, Marshy, where you have a complaint about the jerseys. So the Cougars, from a design standpoint, I like it. It's got the little cat scratches, but that makes the numbers harder to see.
It doesn't help when the cat scratch is the same color as the number. And, when you look at the other side of things for the Cyclones, they look sharp today. So in their dark unis and their white helmet.
Booming kick going to be fielded inside the 5-yard line, brought out right up the middle of the hash marks, taken over towards the left-hand side. Good tackle right around the 20-yard line. Be interesting to see where they spot that one, if he made the 20 or not. But a good opening tackle on the kickoff for the Cyclones.
Yeah, if the Cyclones can make the Cougars start deep in their own territory today, it should be a tough time for Central Illinois to get anything going offensively.
So 8 seconds come off the clock. Cyclones will get their first possession of the game going on. Now there's a discussion going on with some of the officials.
Looks like the Cougars are having a tough time with player personnel getting onto the field. A little confusion on that side of the field.
So the ball's going to be spotted just shy of the 20. A little bit closer to the 19. First and 10 for the Cougars whenever they get things rolling. Now we get the whistle. Cougars going to go with a shotgun set. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the outside. Snap taken, quick throw, and it's just a little bit too low on the far side, so that's incomplete.
Yeah, that was a low throw and allowed the defenders for the Cyclones to get there quickly and break up that pass.
Play design was probably pretty good, but yeah, the throw just wasn't where it needed to be. Got caught up down around the shins. A little bit of a hand clap coming from Keelan Smith. He's ready to go. They're going to go with a run play second time around, and he is stuffed basically right at the line of scrimmage, gain of maybe a little over a yard.
Yeah, so big third down right off the bat for the Cyclones. Good stop here and get that offense out there, which we know can put up points. We saw it last week, 53-0 over the Midwest Cobras. So a big stop right here for the defense to propel that offense would be huge for the Cyclones.
Cougars talking things over. They're down to 9, 13:59 left to go in the first quarter. Snaps a little bit high, pressure coming. Quarterback sneaks up the middle. Now he's outside the hash marks, coming over towards the near sideline. Not even going to get close to the first down. Big collision on the near sideline. But that's going to come up short.
So it makes you wonder, you are a few yards shy. Does look like the punt team's coming up.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything initially. they're a little slow on some of these player transitions,
right.
But the punter is coming out.
For sure. But that has to be difficult when you have, such small bodies on your roster to try and get the right guys out there and whatnot.
High punt, fielded at the 34-yard line, brought over here towards the near side. Now cut back towards the middle, cutting back towards the near sideline. Great return here. Finally taken down. There is a flag on the play. That one comes around the 40-yard line on the offensive side of the ball for the Cyclones. We'll see who it's against.
Yeah, great return from Keelan Smith. Made a man miss, stayed inside, and, of course, now there's a flag. We'll see what happens on that. But from that return, Smith with a great run. Gained at least 20-something yards. We'll see if it comes back, though.
As of right now, they've still got it spotted. And now they are moving it back, so it is going to be against the Cyclones.
Nevertheless, still good field position for the Cyclones to start their day on offense.
Ball's going to be at the 46. First offensive drive now for the Cyclones. The man they call Bam Bam going to be the quarterback here today. 12:59 left to go in the first quarter. We'll see what the Cyclones can cook up on the offensive side. Shotgun set, two running backs. Now one goes in motion. Bam Bam takes the snap, handoff up the middle, and a big gain. Clock still rolling, 12:45 to go. First down for the Cyclones.
Todd, if you're going to get runs like that, I would just keep the ball on the ground. That opens up the passing game, a little play action. But for now, you have to assume here on this first drive that with a run like that, you keep the ball on the ground and you just power through that Cougar defense.
So they completely flip the side of the field. They're now on the 43 on the positive side. Getting the shotgun set. In motion is Deion Scott. They're going to go out towards the right side this time. Still a decent gain. Ball spotted right around the 40-yard line.
And that's what the Cyclones can bring you. Two different running backs. You can barrel one right up the middle. You bounce one off to the outside. A different way to attack this defense.
You can see the referees are in early season form as they were initially around the 40. Now they've spotted it at the 41. So got a back judge wearing pants. Everybody else is wearing shorts.
Well, it is a nice day, Todd. What do you want him to do?
Show up in uniform. Bam Bam takes the snap. Tail the pass to the near side. Caught. Deion Scott forced out of bounds after another big gain for the Cyclones. Clock stops with 11:24 to go in the period.
Yeah, Deion Scott wide open, and that's what happens when you can open up that passing game. You know, Cougars may be expecting a run. You come out with the same formation, and you can go all sorts of different ways with this offense. And right there, a nice throw and catch and gaining more yards, and the sticks are moving.
So again, the two running back set alongside of the shotgun quarterback. And in motion, they fake the handoff. Quick pitch out to the right, trying to gain some space, but the defense didn't bite. They're going to shut that down pretty quick.
Yeah, it looked like the throw was maybe a tad bit behind. Perhaps that might have slowed them down, but you're still moving the ball upfield, and you got two more downs to work with. And the way that this offense has been moving down the field, you have to expect them to keep charging ahead, and we'll see what they roll out here on this play.
So no gain, 2nd and 10. Clock still rolling. A little bit over 10 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Cyclones on the move, though. We'll see if they can get some points on this drive. They're going to go towards the near corner. Oh, what a one-handed catch. Oh, he was out of bounds. That would have been spectacular highlight reel stuff. Unfortunately, he couldn't get that foot down.
The initial foot may have been out of bounds to begin with, but my goodness, Todd, what a catch. Looked to be in double coverage as well, one-hander at that. And if you're going to be getting catches like that throughout the day, I think we might have a similar score to what we saw yesterday, especially with the way the defense played in that first drive.
That was Jay Clayton. Went up, grabbed that one-handed, brought it down. So pretty sure he hauled it in with possession the whole time. So I think the foot just didn't come down in bounds. A nice little flag route. Now they're going to go towards the far sideline, and that pass is way too high. There's a little bit of a hand up there, and I think Bam Bam tried to work it around, just put a little too much on it. That'll bring up 4th and 10. And they're going to bring out the kicker.
Well, we know this guy he's got a leg. Legatron.
Yeah, Tyler Hatch.
Legatron.
Booming some field goals from 55 and then punts from 60 regularly. So the wind is in his favor, if I could speak. Not that he needs a whole lot right now. So this will be right around a 41-yard kick. Hatch is set up. Spot is down. Here's the kick. Kind of a line drive. And it's good. So the Cyclones do get points, not necessarily the amount that they would have liked, but 3 is better than 0.
Are you surprised, Todd, that they didn't stick with the running game after the initial success on the start of that drive?
A little bit. I understand why they went with the pass because they had a good play set up. It just got a little too close to the sideline, but you still had a couple downs to work with outside of that play. And, yeah, you would think you might want to get into a slightly shorter down a distance.
That initial first pass play, so wide open, I wonder if, the offense thought they had something there where they could expose this Cougars defense. But so far, so good. You're putting up points. There's a lot of game left. You're just trying to get a feel for what this defense has on the other side of the field. And I like that first drive. Like you said, maybe a hand up. Bam Bam can't get that throw off the way he wants to. But overall, I think for the first drive here in the first home game of the season, success, you're getting points, and that's really all you can ask for.
Yeah, a couple first downs, and then you end up with a field goal. So now they've got to switch the mindset, go back to the defensive side of the ball. It's fielded at the 2-yard line after a good, strong kick. This one's going to come out over the 20, but not by much.
Good tackle. Good tackle.
Again, it's going to be field position in favor of the Cyclones after a big stop over on the far sideline.
Initially on that return, it looked like Central Illinois was going to get some yardage a lot better than what we saw on that first kick. But then, you bounce the guy to the outside, and that's all about special teams and angling guys off, and a great tackle there at the 20-yard line. So we'll see what the Cougars can do on their second possession. We know the Cyclones got them to go 3 and out. We'll see if they can do that here again and get that momentum back to the offense and perhaps put one in the back of the end zone.
Now, Vincent Owen was the one that stepped up, made that hit right at the 20-yard line. But to your point, Marcia, yeah, I thought he was going to blow by the 20, but then he cut it over towards the left-hand side, and that allowed the kick team for the Cyclones to get into position. Again, the shotgun set, handoff up the middle, quickly taken down. Gain of maybe a yard, depending on the spot. But the Cyclones are getting good pressure right off the snap.
Yeah, Teron Thomas with the tackle. Good job to wrap him up. It looked initially that could have been more than what the Cougars ended up getting on that run.
The ball's just shy of the 22. They are going to call it 2nd and 9, though. Another high snap. Pressure coming, 2 right in the face of the quarterback, and now he's just going to have to throw it away. Sean Lomax was the man to take the quarterback down. And he did get that throw off to get himself out of trouble. That'll bring up 3rd and 9. 7:43 left to go in the first quarter, 3-0 Cyclones.
It's another big 3rd down coming for the Cyclones. And the Cyclones, obviously 3rd down is one of the bigger downs here. But if you limit the amount of yardage that your opponent gets on 1st and 2nd down, it makes it tougher for them.
Man was in motion. He got a whistle. I didn't see the flag come out, but I do think they are calling a penalty.
Yeah, man is in motion, I believe. And they're moving the ball, so
I think they're going to say that the defender drew the motion. 5-yard penalty, 3rd and 4 now. So that's a little bit more manageable for the Cougars. 7:20 and the clock's rolling. Slot receiver comes over here towards the near side. Quick pressure from the defensive ends, and it's caught on the outside. Brought down over on the sideline, but that'll put it out of bounds right around the 44-yard line.
Yeah, so for the Cougars, a big first down for them as they move the sticks, and they're inching their way towards the 50-yard line. Todd, there's a whistle blowing in the stands, and it keeps making me think that it's one of the referees.
Somebody needs to stop that. That's going to be confusing. So 1st and 10, ball on the 44. Handoff to the left side.
Oh.
And again, quickly taken down. That's what you like to see on those initial tackles, is to get around the hips or the thighs. It's a lot harder to break when you're doing that. Too many times you see guys today, they want to go for that big hit. They go up around the shoulders and guys bounce off. Toss over here to the near side. That's too tall for number 6. Cyclones had some pressure right there as Teron Thomas as well as Jordan Miles were converging on the play.
And the Cyclones trying to switch out personnel on defense. Cougars go with the no huddle. They don't convert on, that's one of those things where you see defenders coming off the field. You want to get that play off quickly, and they had space. You make that catch, perhaps you get another 5 yards, a first down, you move the sticks, but it comes down to executing right there, and the Cougars did not do that.
3rd and 6. Going to go with a run play. Again, it's out to the left-hand side. And he's going to get close to the sticks, but I think he's not going to be quite there. That'll bring up 4th down. We'll see what the Cougars elect to do.
I would not be surprised if they go for it here. 4th and 1, ball on the other side of the field. The way the Cyclones, I wouldn't say march down the field on their first drive, but knowing how much offensive firepower that they have, you got to take the points when you can and get some points.
It's going to be a quarterback run, and that is snuffed out right from the beginning. Just not enough bite from the Cyclones defense at all on the initial fake handoff. Quarterback went out towards the left-hand side trying to take advantage of, I guess, what it might be perceived as a weakness over there. They seem to be trying to probe that left-hand side with a lot of their runs, but the Cyclones come up with a big stop, and they will take possession.
Yeah, and the Cougars did a pretty good job running on that last drive, getting 4 yards, 5 yards, moving the sticks, trying to confuse the Cyclones on defense. You let the quarterback take it, but the Cyclones were up for the task. They knew what was coming, and they make the stop, and now they get the ball back.
So 1st and 10, ball right on midfield. Cyclones again going to go with the shotgun set. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the near side. Going to go with a handoff right up the middle, finding a little bit of space. That's a first down and more. They are going to score. Touchdown, Cyclones. Put 6 on the board with a big gashing run up the gut.
And I thought that's what we would initially see on that first drive. The Cougars having a tough time stopping the run for the Cyclones. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cyclones stick to that run game for most of the day. I mean, blowing right up the middle, a huge run. And it has to make you wonder, with the amount of players on the other side of the field for the Cougars, are they going to be able to keep up with the Cyclones all day long? We're about a little over 10 minutes into this game. How long are they going to be able to keep that up for a full 4 quarters?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough task, especially if you can get the run game going. A lot of times you figure high-octane offenses go with the passes, but a 50-yard touchdown run for Rodney Wiley. There is the kick. right down the middle, and it's 10-0 Cyclones with 4:51 left to go here in the first quarter. Well, we got a second. We want to thank our sponsor, Hot Shots Bar and Grill, St. Charles. If you're unable to make the game, no problem. Just swing by for the official Missouri Cyclones post-game party at Hot Shots St. Charles after every home game. If you can't make it to that either, you can still order some of their great food at hotshots.net.
Oh, I love Hot Shots.
It's always good stuff. Good vibe if you can make it down there, but good food even if you have to pick it up curbside. Good
food, good drinks, a good time. Todd, I'm all about having a good time. I'm having a good time right now as the Cyclones are up 10-0 over the Central Illinois Cougars. And the offense continuing to shine just like we saw last week against the Midwest Cobras. The defense, obviously, you win 53-0. You look at that game, you go, wow, the offense had a great game. But don't discredit the defense either. Of course, shutting out a team is just as hard as scoring all those points as well. So the defense doing a good job. Of course, a fourth down stop that led to a touchdown. So a good start for the Cyclones here in the first quarter.
And that is a good point. Sometimes the defenses are forgotten about in big blowouts like that. As this will be decent field position for the Cougars, better than they've had the last couple drives anyways. They'll start right around the 29. But to your point, Marshy, especially when you get a situation like this, one play, Cyclones put points on the board, so the defense got a 2-minute breather maybe, and now they're right back out there.
And that's the thing. We mentioned it, and we'll probably continue to mention it all day long, but you don't have a ton of personnel for each side of the field. You have guys that are playing both sides of the ball, and so, when you're running, vertical, sprinting, and then just like that, you're back on defense. You're not going to have all that time to catch your breath, get mentally locked in on a different side of the ball, and we saw the Cyclones expose that. And by the way, we will be joined later by our national anthem singer, Michael B. Witt, a great anthem from Michael. We'll talk with him and his singing career.
So there was a penalty on the play, so puts it at the 44. Decent snap. They're going to go skying it up towards the left-hand side. Intercepted! Cyclones take one play to score and one play to take the ball right back.
I understand wanting that deep shot. You're already down 10-0. You feel like you have to get back in this game, but from a Cougars perspective, you have good field position. You had a good running game for the most part on that last drive. I think I would have started off on the ground, try and build some of that offense. You haven't really been on the field for all too long from an offensive perspective. You want to keep that defense out there for the Cyclones, and now the offense coming back out, an interception, a great play, a great read, and a great catch, Todd.
Yeah, I think there was confusion with the officials as to whether he had brought that in or not, because they weren't initially telling the Cougars offense to leave the field, but it is going to be Cyclones ball, 4:40 left to go in the quarter. We're going to spot it at the 30-yard line.
We were talking earlier about the weather and the fact that you have worked together doing hockey games, and of course being in a hockey rink, it is always freezing cold in there. So this is a nice switch up in terms of feeling comfortable.
Yeah, you don't have to wear 5 layers and still be cold.
Exactly.
But it can turn around in a hurry. Talking with one of the guys in the booth earlier, he said that they're not used to being able to wear it like a hoodie or just a normal clothes. Like half the time when they start their season, it's already like blazing hot. So this is kind of a change of pace even for them.
And it will. We know this St. Louis weather. It will get hot this summer.
Pressure coming. Bam Bam is taken down. He's a big boy, so that's not hard to do, but he is going to lose about 12 yards on the play. That's the only negative sometimes when you run that shotgun set. Is if you have to scramble, then all of a sudden you're that much farther away.
And that's a huge, huge first down for Central Illinois. Get some confidence in that defensive group. And for the most part, these first two drives, obviously in the last one, first play, touchdown. And the Cyclones have had their way on offense as they already lead 10-0. So a little bit of confidence for the Cougars. We'll see how the Cyclones can respond right here on second down.
So the referees were a little bit generous. They're going to say the initial contact came at the 20, which makes it 1st and 20. Bullet pass up the middle. They're going to gain the 10 yards back, maybe an extra yard. And a good catch, a little bit of extra afterwards. That'll bring up 2nd and rough 9.
Yeah, good catch by Dom Atkins and have the wherewithal to get back up and try and gain some extra yardage there. Good chunk play to try and get some of that yardage back from the first down sack. Have to assume they'll stick with the air game here, but you never know.
So 3rd and 9, 2 receivers to the far side, 2 to the near side, 1 running back on the quarterback's right. Snap taken, quick throw to the near side, caught. That's going to be short of the first down. As Atkins gets his 2nd catch in as many plays.
Yeah, Atkins had to jump up there. You wonder if he doesn't jump, that ball isn't thrown high. Perhaps he's able to make a man miss. We saw him turn up in that last on 2nd down, try and gain some extra yardage. We'll see what the Cyclones elect to do here on 4th down. It's a 4th and 2. Looks like they're going to leave the offense out there, and why not? The Cougars haven't proven anything here on offense. Give it to your running back. We've seen the Cyclones able to gain a ton of yards on the ground game so far, and now we got some laundry out on the field. And delay a game, so maybe that'll change some things here for the Cyclones.
I think they got the timeout taken.
Did they get the timeout off? Yeah, I believe they did.
Yeah, they signaled timeout, so that's going to keep it at a short distance. 2:03 left to go in the quarter, but I think they were kind of two minds because the punter in Rack, he ran out there, and then they decided not to do that. But then they kind of ran out of time and have to use up a timeout. 10-0 in favor of the Cyclones. They are currently on their 3rd drive of the game. First one had a couple first downs and then a field goal. Second one was a 1-play drive, 50-yard run from Rodney Wiley. And this one, we'll see how it ends. It looked like it was going to go 3 and out, but the Cyclones going to keep their offense on the field.
Todd, I'd like to think they get this 4th and 2, the way things have been going for the Cyclones offense. I said, why not? Why not do it? I'm surprised they're set up, though, in shotgun formation.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, but I almost think that if that's just your natural offensive set, that they don't want to alter it just for one play.
For sure.
Man in motion, comes back out towards the near side. They're going to run it, and he's going to get the first down plus more, taken down at the 45, but there is a flag from the back judge.
Yeah, this one could be coming back. It's a holding. It'll be a 5-yard penalty, so that will bring out the punting unit. Unfortunately for the Cyclones, they do convert, but with the flag, that's going to set them back. So first drive of the game where they don't get points. But I do like the call. I do like the call. Obviously, it worked, minus the holding call. But I'm sure we'll see more of that today. As we know, the Cougars are having a tough time stopping the run right now.
So an unfortunate turn of events for the Cyclones as they picked up the first down, but then the holding penalty negates that. They will have to punt it. Legatron comes out, 158 left in the quarter.
Todd, did you ever do a punt, pass, and kick when you were a young fellow?
No, they existed, but I never got to take part in one when I was of that age. Did you?
No, I did not. No, Todd, I can't punt. You know, it's one of those things where, oh, we got some whistles on the field, another flag. You know, I can throw a ball. I'd like to think I can kick, but for some reason, every time I punt, it's going left. It's like my golf game, you know. I'm slicing
little
everything.
Shank City.
Yep, that's exactly where I would be.
There's another penalty against the Cyclones, pushing them a little further back.
And there's a reason for that, Todd. There's a reason why we're in the booth and we're not on the field. It's because we can't play at this level. And that's okay.
That's true.
That's okay.
But not all of them could do what we're doing. So, I mean, it's a give and take.
Maybe they could. I don't know.
A bouncer there, and Legatron still gets it off. It's going to be a shorter kick than he would have normally had. Takes a decent bounce. And it is brought down. They're going to spot it at the 45.
More laundry on the field right at the 50.
I think the Cyclones were trying to say that it had touched the.
Well, there was initial contact around the 45, 46, right where the ball looks to be placed. And with that initial contact, perhaps the Cyclones thought it might have grazed off of one of the Cougar players. And then, of course, you know, the ball, it doesn't matter whether or not that actually happened. You jump on that ball because you have no idea what the referee is going to end up calling. And you play every play out. And that's a mindset thing. And the Cyclones have that, and that's why they win games 53-0, Todd.
So it does look like the Cougars are going to come out on the offensive side of things. Maybe. Ball is going to be moved back, though. So now they're going to spot it at the 34, which I'm confused about that because they were initially right around the 45, so that's an 11-yard penalty. .106 left in the quarter. Cyclones up 10-0.
Yeah, so far so good for the Cyclones. A good first quarter here at home. Well, I don't know if you technically call it a home game.
It's a home game on the schedule.
It's a home game on the schedule, not the home field. A nice field here at DeSmet.
Yeah, I like it when they have the different.
The alternating
the colors.
For sure.
The Cyclones back on the defensive side, pass up the middle, and that was kind of in between both options. Cougars had one receiver cutting out towards the left side, one coming to the middle, and it kind of went in between both of them.
And Joe Burse right there getting might have got a finger on it too as he had his arm outstretched. You look at the Cyclones defense, they are trying to hound the ball. They want to be a part, they want the ball. Yeah, you want to stop the team on the other side of the field, of course, Todd. But, you know, when you got guys that are hungry to grab that ball, especially when the ball's in the air, you know you got a good defense.
A few raindrops coming down as the run goes up the middle, and it is stopped immediately.
Is it raining?
There are a few drops coming down. That's why some of the fans are seeking some shelter.
I mean, there's no one else here to blame but us. We are the reason why there are droplets falling from the sky, and it's because we hyped up the weather so much.
The sky is crying because we're here. Man in motion to the near side, and then we get the receiver jumping. So that's going to be a false start against the Cougars. And they were already behind things. So 3rd and 11. That'll make it 3rd and 16.
Yeah, the Cougars not helping themselves out right now on offense.
And that usually drives coaches crazy. Sometimes you can kind of excuse an offensive lineman, but when the receiver is the one to jump off, I'd say you can't even hear things sometimes, so you're supposed to not move till the ball moves.
So that'll do it for the first quarter. 10-0 lead for the Cyclones here in their first home game. Military Appreciation Day. And so far the Cyclones have all the momentum. A couple great drives on offense, and that is where we stand after 15 minutes of play.
I want to thank Midwest Pool Management for sponsoring the Missouri Cyclones. Midwest Pool Management aims to develop lasting relationships with our clients to ensure your facility is safe and enjoyable without the client losing control or authority of their facility. Check them out at MidwestPool.com for more information. We'll step aside for a brief moment here while they go in between quarters. You're watching Missouri Cyclones football. So teams have swapped sides to start the second quarter. 3rd and 16 coming up for the Cougars, though. They trail 10-0. Quick pass out towards the near side, caught at the numbers. And absolutely no room. They'll get to the 30-yard line, and that is it. So a lot of running and not much gain. A 2-yard gain maybe.
Looks like we have an injury on the field.
So not a whole lot of time came off the clock prior to that injury. But it's been, to your point, Marcy, a good start for the Cyclones. They come out first couple drives, put 10 points on the board. They were still doing pretty good on that last drive. They got a first down. Unfortunately, a penalty negated that, and then they had to punt it away. But, for the first 15 minutes here, in a home-type environment, it's obviously a pretty good start.
Yeah, for sure. And, like you said, you take away that penalty, and perhaps maybe there's more points on the board. But you have to like what you're getting out of your offense so far. The ground game has been great. The passing game, we've seen a couple hiccups here and there, but for the most part, the offenses, I wouldn't say had their way with Central Illinois so far, but you like what you see for sure.
So for those of you who are just kind of getting acclimated to the Missouri Cyclones, they're it kind of flows. I was talking to Vinny Pena, who is the offensive coordinator,
Yep.
and he's also kind of behind a lot of the marketing behind the team. And it's similar to what stuff that we've dealt with on the hockey side, where either collegiate guys or junior hockey or whatever, to where they're trying to take a next step and continue their playing at different levels. And that's kind of what this is here in the Central Midwest Football League, to where guys are just kind of trying to keep the dream alive. They can either Vinny was telling me that there was a guy last year that still had college eligibility, so some scouts managed to see him, and he's going to play some college ball coming up this fall. And whether it's getting involved in situations like the XFL, where they might get noticed by one of those scouts, or any kind of upper-level football leagues. USFL is going on right now, and that's what a lot of these guys are still trying to do. They're still trying to keep their playing days going and see if they can continue it at a full professional level as well sometimes.
Yeah, that's great about these leagues, is that you can continue to play the game that you grew up loving to play. These guys, they play because they love the game. And that punt right there, not a lot of distance on it, maybe because the ball's a little slippery perhaps as the rain is starting to come down, and we're getting hit with it too.
Yeah, I think the weather's confused as anybody, because the sun is still kind of out, but there's a lot of clouds kind of rolling in. And unfortunately, the wind is blowing all the water right at us.
Right at us. I blame you, Todd.
Well, that's typical.
That is my MO today, is to
always passing the buck.
Heckle you as much as I can. And this is step one in game number one for us.
So good field position for the Cyclones. First and 10, 14:36 left to go, second quarter now. 10-0 is your score in favor of the Missouri Cyclones. Ball's on the 42. And as usual, we can't get the play going. So timeout was taken, I believe, by the Cougars, so they didn't necessarily like something that they saw on the defensive end.
I'm wondering how the Cougars will utilize their timeouts. And we've talked about this multiple times, and like I said, it's going to keep coming up because it is a part of what we'll see today, is the amount of personnel they have on their sideline, how many times they need to take a timeout, and what situations do they need to take a timeout because of certain players being fatigued.
And yeah, I wonder if that was
smoked by this rain right now. Got all the electronics.
It's big fat drops too. That's the worst.
I know. I'm getting hit with it.
Our producer Eric Skelton's trying to keep our equipment dry so we don't get electrocuted.
Is that a thing?
It sounds like a thing.
Can we get electrocuted?
There's current running through something. I don't know.
I got my paper's getting wet. It's smearing all the things that I had written on it.
All your calligraphy notes are gone.
Yeah.
Good run up the near sideline. Ball's going to be up towards the 31.
And look, it stopped.
Sun's back out. Lovely Midwest weather. You got to love it. Another flag down on the field, though.
Man, a lot of laundry on the field.
Referees are getting their money's worth.
Yeah. Looks like a 14-year-old's room. Not picking up the clothes, not putting them in the laundry basket, all over the ground. We just need an Xbox or a PlayStation. Play some Madden.
Get football down on the field and in the booth.
Absolutely.
So holding call against the Cyclones. That's going to make it a 1st and 20. So that's the second time now that they've had a first down negated by a penalty. Handoff. They're going to do basically the same play, and it's going to be basically the same result. Taken down at the 36. That's still a big, big game for the Cyclones.
Yeah, Dre Johnson just putting his head down and running right up the gut. A big gain for the Cyclones. And, I mean, if I were the Cyclones, I'd just keep it on the ground the entire time. I mean, the Cougars have shown that they are struggling to stop the run so far in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cyclones keep it on the ground here a couple more times throughout this drive before airing it out.
The Cyclones have a pretty big size advantage with their offensive line, too, so that's going to give them even more opportunities both to protect the quarterback and to establish the run, which they've done a pretty good job of already. Going to do it again, this time to the left-hand side. Space out there, and they are going to gain some yardage inside the 10-yard line.
Jannard Nunley Jr., big run, bounces outside, takes it inside the 10-yard line. The Cyclones are poised to punch it in right here. They are running all over the field right now, and we saw glimpses of that in the first few drives, but they have upped the ante right here with 13 minutes left to go in the second quarter.
So the ball inside the 10-yard line, first and goal. Man in motion from the near side, goes back out. Handoff right up the middle again. Not a whole lot of space, but still a few yards gained. They're going to spot that right around the 6.
So we notice, obviously, the Cyclones, two different backs they can give the ball to, feel comfortable giving the ball to for different parts of their offense. I've noticed, over the course of the last 10, 15 years that the NFL has been implementing that two-back system, and you see it obviously now more than ever. But back in the day, you would have that one guy, pardon me, you'd have that one guy that you would just hand the rock to, let him do all the work. But now you have two different guys. It makes it tougher on defense. You have, a bigger back, and then you have a smaller one, and that's exactly what the Cyclones have here as well. But what are your thoughts on that, Todd? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. Because I can't remember the timeline of it, but I remember the Thunder and Lightning thing kind of originated with the New York Giants probably about 10, 15 years ago, and then that became popular. Now all of a sudden you just seem to have a stable of running backs to where they're just trotting somebody out there every 2 plays, which personally I don't necessarily care for that. Like with
right.
the way the Cyclones have been doing it, I don't mind that, the Thunder and Lightning kind of thing, where you have a change of pace and whatever. But I'm a little bit on the older side, so I kind of miss the days when you had like the Barry Sanders or the Adrian Peterson or whatever, to where you just knew who always was going to be in the backfield.
And you see, I think, in my opinion, the most prevalent, that's the right word that I'm using, team out there is the Dallas Cowboys. You look at Ezekiel Elliott, who can rumble up the middle, and then you have Tony Pollard, or at least that's how it was for the Cowboys in the previous years.
So shotgun, but kind of a wishbone. They're going to run it up the middle, and touchdown! Cyclones sneak it in with that last little push, and that makes it 16-0.
Dre Johnson barreling his way up the middle for the touchdown. And that drive right there was all on the ground. They ran it right down the Cougars' throats. But I wouldn't be shocked if they go to the air next drive to switch things up on the Cougars. You keep them on their toes. But then again, they have not shown that they can stop the run.
But yeah, I think you're kind of getting to one of those points to where, as an offensive coordinator, you probably don't want to make it stagnant. But on the flip side, I almost think, to your point, you just need to kind of run the rock until they prove they can stop it. Otherwise, why stop it yourself?
Right.
So 16-0. Try to make it 17 with the PAT. That one, no doubt. So 17-0 with 12:04 left to go here in the second quarter.
And we want to thank Gnomes Detailing. At Gnomes Detailing, we are committed to offering you, our customer, the highest professional automotive detail services available in the industry. We strive to provide you with quality service in a timely manner and at competitive price. Gnomes Detailing is here to offer the community a convenient, professional, ethical automotive detail service that is driven by a dedication to uncompromising, personalized customer service. Our commitment to continuous improvement of both service and product will be the roadmap to our future success. That is Gnomes Detailing. And we are pleased to be joined by Michael B. Witt, who sang the national anthem earlier today. Michael, how are you doing today?
I'm well, very excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, obviously, singing the national anthem, you are singing yourself. What is the difference between your music and the way you go about it and singing the national anthem? Because I've heard it's one of the tougher songs to actually sing in terms of how you want to approach it.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, the way I like to approach it is just to keep it standard, not to change it too much. Because, as you said, it is one of the more difficult songs to sing because it has a few repetitive stanzas inside of it. So it gets tough. You sometimes will start to mix it up. But I realize that, if you keep it pretty much standard, you keep it safe,
Well, it sounded great.
It usually ends out well, so, yeah.
How many times have you done it before?
Well, the crazy thing about it is we're here watching a high-level football game, right? So I used to play high school football.
Okay.
Right, and also while playing high school football, I would, just before the game,
you would sing the national anthem?
I would sing the national anthem.
No way.
Full gear on.
That's awesome.
Full gear on. Right on the sidelines, on the track, just like today. And after singing it, going out there, so I sing it quite a bit. Just to kind of give you an idea. Every game, I would be singing it and then go out to the field. So,
did you see Adam Wainwright sing the national anthem on opening day for the Cardinals?
I didn't. I missed that. I missed that.
So he went out and it was
Adam Wainwright sang it.
It was a surprise to everybody that he was the one singing it. But he talked about the reverb, I guess, and the
slap back. Yeah,
exactly.
We experienced a little bit of that today.
I was wondering because we can hear you down there, but it didn't seem like it affected you at all.
It helped me with the lyrics, actually, surprisingly.
Well,
me and Dalton were just talking about Dalton, my guitar player.
Yeah.
We were just talking about it. It kind of helped me because it seemed like it was feeding me the lyrics at the same time. I don't know if it was him singing but I just hearing myself come back, it was like, okay, now I know what the next line is and not to get mixed up like we talked about. So I've seen so many people screw it up online on YouTube. I said, please don't let me be one of those. Please don't let me be one of those that comes on here and screws it up and people make a big clip about it, big meme about it.
So where are you from? I know you're from the area, but what part of the area did you grow up in, and how long have you been singing for?
Just on the other side of the water, a little small town called Cahokia, Illinois. And I've been singing for pretty much all my life, man.
Yeah, you mentioned playing in high school you were singing, so at least dates back to that time.
Yes, indeed. So I just kind of raised up in a very musical family. Everybody pretty much played instruments or sang. So just coming up in a family like that, it's like being a fish in water. You just kind of do it naturally. So started singing and playing earlier on in life, and just kind of developed into what y'all seeing now. So.
And you mentioned Dalton, your guitar player. How long have you two been working together with?
Dalton and I. No,
two years now. Yeah, he's been sticking with me. Dalton's a real big hockey player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is I'm carrying him and taking him with me wherever I go. So.
So you are on Spotify, and 40 Acres Down is your most listened to song on Spotify. What is
y'all
that?
done research. Y'all did y'all homework. I love it. I love it.
I leave him up to that kind of stuff.
By the way, 10 minutes left here in the second quarter. Cougars with the ball. I believe, what is it, Todd, on their own 20-yard line, 21?
Yeah, just north of the 20. But so far, a good defensive stand going on for the Cyclones. So I say that, and then they get pushed down.
You say that, and there's a good completion right there.
So you said you've been singing your whole life. How long have you been on Spotify as the artist that you are now?
Shucks. I want to say about 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah, the music that you guys are able to get your hands on now. I think the first song that I released to streaming platforms, because streaming platforms weren't always available earlier on. I don't want to age myself, but you had the Napster.
Oh yeah.
But no, like Handle Hard was like my first release, and I think I released that one maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So,
Gotcha.
Decided to take to step from out of the background and writing and producing music and start to craft my artistship. So. And
I mentioned 40 Acres Down is. Would you say that's your favorite song? It is on Spotify your most listened to song. But a lot of artists, some of their most popular songs are never the ones that they actually love to sing in comparison to others.
Right. You are right and exact on that. 40 Acres Down was an experiment.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was in the lab just thinking what if I did like a mashup, because mashups are popular now. Right. And I was just thinking, what would it sound like if I were to mash up two artists that I really, really enjoy listening to and that are I'm heavily influenced by. And I thought, hey, all right, so if I take Jason Aldean, Blake Shelton, and I mix it with a little bit of Prince, what would I get if I poured it all into a bottle? And that's what it came out. And I didn't expect it. I didn't even think about releasing it because there's so much hoopla over what's country music and what's not.
Right.
And so I didn't really think about putting it out as a serious song, but when I put it out, the fans just kind of really gravitated to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way that at least country music, I would say, is sort of going towards. Obviously, you still have your musicians who are not doing that.
The purist,
for sure. But, I mean, if that's what people like, put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man. That's kind of my brand. It's to be a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, that's great.
Being able to be on both sides of the track and be influenced by all different cultures, it allows me to be able to help bring people together.
Right.
And that's just one of the gifts, man. That's just one of the things, and it works out well. It's true to brand. So
you mentioned Prince being one of the influences for that song, and obviously you have your country background. Who were some of the artists growing up that sort of influenced you into being the person that you are today, or the artist that you are today too?
Okay. Well, I mean, as I said, it's I can go from A to Z on where I'm influenced. Got a heavy country background, got a heavy R&B background, got a heavy gospel background. Obviously, my dad put me on to like the Charlie Prides, and obviously you had the Billy Ray Cyrus as was the big hit when I was growing up, in the Tim McGraw, Garth Brooks. So heavily influenced by those guys. And also, I really like a lot of the new guys too. I love Hunter Hayes. That's one of my go-to guys that I like to listen to. I'm really feeling like the Ernest and the Morgan Wallen sounds and the Luke Combs. So, real big fans of those. So you'll hear sprinkles of that inside of my music, as well as you will catch some of the soul that interjected into the country twang, the country sound that I provide. So you'll hear, a little bit of, sometimes you might hear a little sauce of like a little Usher or something kind of pinched in there.
Yeah.
And of course the Prince and a little bit of the fanfare of Michael Jackson's and stuff like that. Just kind of like sprinkling a little bit in but still keeping it subtle to where it's still palatable for the purists of country music. So just to show that, all right, we can do the traditional sound, but I can also interject a little bit of this, and you don't even know it, and it works well. So.
And you mentioned you two have been working together for a few years now. What goes into creating a song? Like, what does that timeline look like? Does it vary depending on what kind of sound you're looking for?
Oh, man, does it vary? I mean, we can go to the studio and stare at each other for 12 hours and never come up with anything.
Right.
And then you have those days where you can go and everything just clicking.
For sure.
And, I mean, so there's really no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
It's all about splash and paint when we go into the studio. It's like, are we going to record something? Or are we going to rehearse or practice something? We just go off of our guts and off of our feeling. And I think that's what translates over to the music. It's about the feeling that we're putting on it. So if we're not really feeling anything, then, of course, the audience and the listeners won't be as well.
For sure. So you're pretty picky with what you want to release and whatnot. Like I know you said the 40 Acres Down was
Soup Nazi series. Absolutely. Ooh, that's up.
Yep. Cyclones getting the ball back here.
Uh-oh. He's got to make a return.
Todd, this is you. This is your job.
So what turned out it started out as kind of a disastrous play, ends up with a pretty good return for the Cyclones. You were talking about being in the studio. Mm-hmm. Was there a certain moment, or was it just kind of a gradual transition to when – because a lot of guys, they think, oh, I'll get into music. But you never really transition out of that, like, oh, weekend gig at the local place, like, and then you all of a sudden you now have studio time. Like, when do you think you made the transition to where it's like, okay, we can actually do this?
Man, everything has been a blur. I'll be honest with you. We've been moving at the speed of sound, really, and that's no kidding. Like, it literally went from the idea. So here's the background. I've been producing and writing professionally. I know you guys heard the term of like a ghostwriter or something like that. So I've been writing for some pretty decent names, none of which I can mention right now.
For sure, yeah.
But I've written for some pretty top-notch names and produced some really good records, and I've also been nominated for some awards in my lifetime.
Congratulations, by the way.
Well, thank you. And so it really wasn't too difficult of a transition. I was really kind of pushed out of the nest by the passing of my sister, and she really wanted me to come out and step out and do music on my own terms. And when I decided to do it, it came out this way, just from my lifestyle, country lifestyle. It came out this way, authentic, and it literally went from creating a song that I didn't think was gonna do anything, just uploading it online, and we live in what you call it, the viral culture now.
Right.
And the song just went viral. I just wrote a little song about my hometown called Camp Jackson, and just seemed like overnight we were playing Ballpark Village. And
that's awesome.
It just took off, playing NASCAR, the St. Louis Blues, and now we're going down to Abilene, Texas for we're going to Austin, Texas for their 4th of July event. We played the VP Fair here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been moving at the speed of sound, man. It's been a blessing. So.
And how much fun are you guys having doing live shows? Because obviously you're in the studio. It's a different kind of atmosphere, obviously. You have people in front of you, rather than being sort of in a private, more what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, more of just a private setting.
Yeah, the intimate settings. Yeah, the intimate settings. Yeah. Man, live is electric.
Yeah.
It's electric. I mean, I love seeing.
The juices flowing.
Absolutely. Feeding off of the energy.
For sure.
Say that again? Oh, yeah. Never know. Look, we've had someone get arrested on stage. So we love going to events and just experiencing, just getting especially after coming off of, the pandemic and everything, where we were all just kind of trapped up and not doing anything. It was just like being able to get out and see people and touch people and feel people. You never know how much you really miss that until it's kind of taken away from you. So, man, just to feel the energy of the people out there and to know that they're really rocking with the music, man, it's incredible.
And that's a great thing, too, because you know, there's probably some people there that have never heard your music too. So when they hear you on stage, they're like, "Wow, I'm really feeling this right now. I got to look this guy up." Like,
it's a surprise. It's a surprise.
And I'm sure you get people that come up to you and you're like, "Hey, man, like that was really great."
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's got to be one of the best feelings in the world.
It's an amazing feeling just to know that people like what you do, you know, and know that you grab this song from out of the sky, seemingly out of the atmosphere. You put it down on wax, and now actually people can relate to this thing that was just a fleeting thought at one point. So it's amazing. It's an incredible feeling. So
what is next for you two, in terms of releasing music, writing music? I know you mentioned you're going to Texas, live show. You know, what's next? What's on the docket for you guys?
Well, we're going to continue doing our live shows. We're headed to London in I forget the date, but we're going to London to do the Long Road Festival with John Party.
Okay.
And we're trying to finish up the EP. We want to get the EP finished. The name of the EP is Before September, so we want to get it done on
Before September.
Before September. Cliche. So I want to hopefully have a release concert here in St. Louis on the last day of August.
Okay.
You know, and so that's what we're working on, man. We're just gonna keep our head down and just keep on running until we turn around and look at each other and say, "Hey, man, we made it."
Right.
We don't know how we got here. Well, we do know how we got here, but that's the idea. Yeah, no. Yeah,
well, where can people find your music? I mentioned you're on Spotify, but where can people find your music, follow you on socials, all that stuff?
Hey, y'all, it's very simple. I'm everywhere at michaelb.wit. Yep, that's Michael, MICHAEL, B, period, Wit, WHIT. And you can find me on, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on TikTok. Not doing much dancing on there, but I'm on there. YouTube, also at michaelbwit.com. So, yeah, feel free to look me up, chat with me. I talk back, y'all.
Spotify and
Apple Music, all of my music is there. And stay tuned for the EP Before September.
All right, perfect. Well, hey, we appreciate you joining us today.
Thanks
for
thank you.
You know, singing the national anthem. It was great.
Yeah, it was really good.
Especially, you know, Military Appreciation Day. I know Eric was part of the military. He appreciates that.
Oh,
so,
really? Man, awesome. Thank you so much for your service. I appreciate it.
But, yeah, enjoy the rest of the game. Cyclones looking good so far.
Let's
up
go
17-0. Ball on offense is just hit the 50-yard line, Todd.
So, yeah, great interview there with Michael B. Witt. Just to kind of catch everybody up on what had happened. That initial punt was there was a penalty. Cyclones. So we got a little feedback or something going on. Cyclones ended up with possession south of the 30-yard line, but they've had a couple positive plays on the offensive side now. Some runs, some passes, some big gains as there's another one here, at least 5 yards on this play. 5:30 still left to go in the quarter, 17-0 in favor of the Cyclones. It's really, in terms of punching the ball in, that's been about the only thing that hasn't happened for the Cyclones as much as they might prefer, but absolutely nothing going on right now for the Cougars offensively or defensively.
You would like to see the Cyclones eat up some time here as we approach the 5-minute mark left to go here in the second quarter, get another score on the board, and that'll really put the Cougars in a hole heading into halftime, down what we hope to be 24.
The ball's on the 45, north of the half line. Run up the near side, and another big gain for the Cyclones on the ground as they are absolutely eating up yards. And as I say that, they do the eating up the yards motion.
Yeah, I mentioned maybe killing some clock, but why not score, get a stop, and then get the ball back and score again if you can do that. The way the Cyclones have been just running the football, it's been something to watch here today. First home game, trying to give the fans a show today, and the offense have shown up.
So a 14-yard gain for Miguel Allen. Closing in on 4 minutes left. All spotted at the 31-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Cyclones. 2 running backs on either side of Bam Bam, who's going to take the shotgun snap. And then there was miscommunication there. I think that might have been an option-type play, and it just never settled in with the running back. Fortunately, the Cyclones get it back.
Yeah. Miguel Allen able to pounce on that ball as he fell right on it. So a lucky break for the Cyclones, able to keep possession of the ball. But now as time ticks down, you have to wonder if they will just play this out and not allow the Cougars much time on the clock if the Cyclones can't score.
So a loss of 2 brings up 2nd and 12. 3 minutes and change left. Cyclones pretty much using up a lot of the play clock here before they go up to the line of scrimmage. And now I think they were forced to take a timeout.
A little miscommunication. They wouldn't get the right play call, though.
Yeah, 2nd down, always an important down, especially when you're behind the 10 yards. So you want to get probably at least, I'd say, 5 or 6 yards to get yourself into 3rd and manageable. 2:54 left to go in the second quarter.
And the way the Cyclones have been running the ball, and obviously I'm no coach, Todd. There's a reason for that, but I do have
you got the hair to be a coach.
Varying opinions. I have the sunglasses too. You get about 5 yards, 5-yard rush. The way the Cyclones been running the ball, I wouldn't say it's been easy, but it's been slightly easy getting yardage. So I wouldn't be shocked if they went to the air here, being that they are behind the sticks, but
if you do go down to the sideline, so you might need to trim the mustache. You got kind of a Jeff Fisher look going on right now.
No. That's why we stay here in the booth. If I was on the sidelines, it'd be a 7-9 football team. Man, I can't believe you just compared me to Jeff Fisher.
Well, I got a little bit of flow going on. You got the mustache. Pitch out here towards the near side. Makes one man miss. Finds a little bit of space and forced out of bounds at about the 30, we'll call it 33, or 20.
27?
27. I have to do that at least once.
You got to get it out of your system. Get it out of your system early. 2:46 left on the clock here in the second quarter. You know what, Todd? You were right. It is on the 27-yard line. So there it is. You gain about 4 or 5 yards there. Now you go to the air here.
Still pretty manageable. 3rd and 6, they're going to call it. Again, kind of that offset in the backfield, and they're going to hand it off, go up the middle, bouncing that out towards the left side, but just didn't find a whole lot of room. They do get inside the 25, but that's not going to be enough for the first down. 4th and 3rd.
I'd go
4th
for
and
it.
3, I should say.
I think they are. The Cougars have not shown that they have had any success on offense. You already converted earlier on a 4th down. However, the flag ended up coming back to bite you with the holding call, thus resulting in the punt. But your offense has shown that you can convert on 4th down. We're going to get the 2-minute warning, so that'll give the Cyclones some time to draw up a play here. But I like the move. If they're going to continue with going for it on 4th down, I like it.
Yeah, and sometimes you see in collegiate ball to where if a team is going for it on, or even high school, if a team's going for it on fourth down, it's because they don't necessarily have a whole lot of confidence in their kicker. And this is the complete opposite of that. They know that Hack is going to be able to make a field goal if they went for that. But you might as well give yourself an opportunity to put 6 on the board if you have that much confidence. And, again, a short yardage situation too.
Absolutely, and it's demoralizing to the other team when you go into halftime down 24. You give up those late quarter points. As we're at the 2-minute warning right now, the Cyclones debating on whether or not to go for it on fourth down. I don't think it's much of a debate. I think they're going for it, and they're just trying to draw up the right play. But if you can punch yourself into the end zone late in a quarter, that's got to be demoralizing for the other team. And right now, I think that's what the Cyclones have in mind.
Yeah, Hack is on the sideline with his helmet off, so that was never even an option. And I think if you're the Cougars, obviously you want to prevent the Cyclones from getting the first down, but you have to be aware of the big play as well. You don't want to give up the touchdown on this play, even if you do allow a first down. So split running backs, one to the right, and we're going to get a false start.
So that's 2 flags on fourth down that are coming back to bite the Cyclones. Perhaps some points left out on the board they could have picked up. Instead, they're going to elect to go for a field goal. That's unfortunate. You get the 2-minute warning, time to draw up the right play, and you don't even end up getting the play off.
Yeah, that's a little bit demoralizing from the offensive side of things. But we'll see if.
From a positive standpoint, if you want to take the positive away from that, is that you didn't run the play so you can save it for later. How about that, Todd?
Right. Didn't even give him a look at it.
Exactly.
Snap is down, kick is up, and it is no good. I don't know if somebody got a hand on that one or if it just didn't settle down on the ground right, but that just did not come off the foot the right way at all. So score's going to remain 17-0 with 1:55 left to go in the first half.
And that's a huge stand for the Cougars. They haven't really had much to, gain momentum off of all day long. The offense, had one decent drive downfield and ended up not resulting in points. But that's huge for the Cougars defense, for them, I'm sure they're hoping that translates into a late quarter drive to head into halftime. They're going to try and get some points on the board, whether that's a touchdown or a field goal. You never want to go into halftime with no points on the board.
So the Cougars will come out on the offensive side of the ball on the 37-yard line. 1st and 10, under 2 to go. Cyclones only going to rush 4, but they still get decent pressure. Rainbow pass over towards the far sideline. Not on the mark, though, so that'll bring up 2nd and 10.
So it looks like the Cougars most likely airing it out here with not much time left on the clock. Their running game, for the most part, has been somewhat solid.
Yeah, they had a couple good gains on their first drive, but then they've kind of abandoned that for the pass. And obviously when you're down.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you are down by a decent amount. You end up having to throw the ball more, and you don't really get to establish that running game. Looking for a screen pass right there, unable to connect. So not even 10 seconds off the clock from 2 plays, and just like that, it's already 3rd down, 3rd and 10.
And I almost think for the Cougars, not catching that was probably the better option because they were going to get snuffed out really quick.
Mm-hmm. Plus the time continues to tick down. And this gives the Cyclones another chance to go out on offense before the end of the second quarter and try and put some more points up. They were unable to do so on their last drive.
Damon Clark was a late substitution. He tries to rush up the middle, and it's intercepted after being deflected up through the gut. And it's a big return here for the Cyclones. Will they score? No. Forced out of bounds. They're going to mark it out at around the 7-yard line. But a big interception and still time left on the clock for the Cyclones to try to put that 6th spot back on the board before halftime.
Yeah, tip ball. And the Cyclones able to capitalize on that. Just a huge play by Vincent Owens to get his hands on that. And what a return, too. I'm sure he was hoping he would find the back of the end zone on that return. But a great job at setting up the offense to put 7 more on the board.
Those are difficult to read because you never really expect it to be deflected. But the man in the middle got a hand on it. Owens made the catch, ran up the hash marks, and then over towards the far sideline. Unfortunately, just ran out of room, but still 91 seconds left for the Cyclones to try to put more points on the board before the half. A little bit of confusion as to which receiver is going to go to what spot. They've got it all ironed out now. Only one man over here towards the near sideline, 2 to the left, 2 running backs. And in motion, they're going to go with the end around. A little bit of space in the middle, inside the 5-yard line, and then they run out of it. They're going to spot it right at the 5, in fact, 120 and counting. That'll bring up 2nd down.
Owens with the run there. He saw something up the middle as he cut back towards the middle, unable to get into the end zone, but kept his legs moving, gained a few yards.
But I like the decisiveness. Like, he saw what he wanted in the middle, so he just went right up there instead of trying to come outside and then go back. Clock still rolling, under a minute. 2nd and 5. Technically 2nd and goal, I should say, because they don't have the sticks out there. Handoff, they go up the middle, and it's going to be shy of the goal line, but the ball might have popped loose. I thought I heard a whistle. The Cougar player was running and take it down at the 35, but it's going to be Cougar ball back towards the goal line.
Yeah, the whistles did blow. Obviously, play that out. A lot of players will do that. You never know what could happen, but that is a tough turnover for the Cyclones down inside the goal line, inside the 5. 31 seconds left on the clock. A chance to put 7 on the board. It's a tough break for the Cyclones. Hopefully, they don't hang their heads, lower their heads and disappointment because of that drive. And there's still a lot of game left, but unfortunately for the Cyclones, the past 2 drives have not worked in their favor. But this defense, we've seen this defense has made plays already so far in this game. It can change that momentum for the Cyclones, and that's what's great about the game of football. You make a mistake, you have another chance to go right back out there. You rely on your teammates to pick you up, whether that's mentally or out on the field. And we've seen the Cyclones team do that not only today, but all season long.
Yeah, Dre Johnson looked like he had some momentum behind him, but just was met with a solid pop. Ball came out. They're going to spot it on the 2-yard line. But this close to the goal line, to your point about the defense maybe making a play.
Yeah.
If you put enough pressure on, maybe you force a safety.
It looks like they're just going to take a knee and take it to halftime.
Well, that's not fair.
I would think that's the right call, and that's exactly what they're going to do because you mentioned it. We just talked about the defense making plays, and we've seen multiple times in the NFL this year, snaps around the goal line going in favor of the defense because there's been a little miscommunication between the center and the quarterback. And that's just something that you don't want to mess with if you're the Cougars right now, is giving up perhaps a safety or even a fumble inside their own 5 that leads to a touchdown. Just take the knee, head to halftime down 17. And if you're the Cyclones, you have to be happy with how things played out in this first half. That first quarter, they dominated a big run on their second drive of the game. And so far right now, they're sitting pretty heading into the second half. And so far it's been a great first home game for the Cyclones.
Yeah, definitely left some points on the board, but that's going to happen in the course of a game. And defense is doing its job. 0 up on the board, 17 points in favor of the Cyclones as we head to the half. Again, want to thank our sponsor, Hot Shots Bar and Grill in St. Charles. If you're unable to make the game, just swing by the official Missouri Cyclones post-game party at Hot Shots St. Charles after every home game. If you can't make it to that, you can order their good food online at hotshots.net. We should have thought of that, and maybe they could have brought something out to us.
Do we have enough time to go to Hot Shots right now? Is there enough time?
There's always enough time.
No.
Maybe not to St. Charles.
No, yeah. We got 20 minutes here in halftime to chill out, and the teams will gather themselves, and we'll enjoy each other's company until we get back to some football. How's that sound, Todd?
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll have your second half of action. You are watching Missouri Cyclones football. Welcome back to Suntrip Field here at DeSmet High School. Getting the second half underway a little bit earlier than we expected as the referees were just kind of yelling up here, put 15 minutes on the clock.
I was trying to get some food, Todd.
they denied you your nutrition. Oh, he keeps his hand on the field, and we're still going past the 50. A big return here.
Yeah.
Big run there by Gerard Nunley.
Flag on the play, too.
Of course.
I think it's in favor of the Cyclones as a tackle out of bounds. Maybe an extra 15 yards for the Cyclones to start off their first drive of the second half.
That was a big run there for Nunley as he just got his hand down to the ground, kept himself upright. It is going to be a personal foul on the Cougars, which will put the Cyclones even further into positive territory. I believe they had spotted it right around the 49 or 48. Now they're going to put it down at the 30, we'll call it 34. So 9 seconds off the clock on that big run for Nunley. 17-0 Cyclones. One running back behind Bam Bam, who's in the shotgun set. He's going to go with the pass play. Dumps one over the middle, and it is dropped. Deion Scott was the intended target. Just looked upfield before he had secured the ball. Second and 10 coming up for the Cyclones. Ball's actually on the 29, so I messed up the yards again. That's twice now.
Shocker.
Oh, and a big catch over the middle. Tom Atkins coming down with that one. His legs were taken out from underneath him, but he still managed to land and get up. I've had that happen to me. It was in a soccer game. Separated my shoulder.
Here you are.
The funny thing was it was a co-ed game as well, and it was a girl that undercut me.
We've seen Atkins go up and leap up in the air a few times today, making some nice catches.
He's got the hops. Ball on the 18, first and 10. 13 and a half to go, clock rolling. Bam Bam fakes the handoff. Going to go with the flag route out to the outside. Oh, and they got a hand on it at the last second. So incomplete pass. What was close to a touchdown.
Yeah, good look. Great throw. It was right there, but got to give credit to the defense for making a play. We talked all day long about the Cyclones defense making plays, and that was a huge one for the Cougars.
That'll bring up second down. Clock is rolling now that the ball is set. One running back to the left-hand side. Going to go with another pass play up the middle this time, and it is picked off right at the goal line. Interception by the Cougars. Ran back out towards the outside, just north of the 15-yard line, so a decent run back. There is a flag on the play, but it's pretty late in the sequence, so I think the interception is definitely going to stand, and it was probably on the play out of bounds.
Yeah, so two big plays on defense by the Cougars. Definitely something they needed to try and create a spark, trying to light the fire for the offense, who has gone 0 for so far today. Zeros on the board for the Cougars. A different look from the Cyclones here on their first drive to start off the second half. We saw the run game dominate the Cougars in that first half. The Cyclones elect to go to the air on this first drive. A couple good passes, a great catch, like we said earlier, from Adkins, but unfortunately for Bam Bam, that one ends up in the hands of one of the Cougar defenders.
Coach Galladay is probably not going to be too happy. Two possessions now in the red zone. Ended up with 2 turnovers. They fumble it at the end of the first half. First possession of the second half ends up with an interception on the goal line.
And that pass dropped. So the Cougars not helping themselves by any means on offense. A few drops throughout the day. Some passes that are not necessarily in the right spot, but that one looked to be right on target, just a drop.
Yeah, it was a good swing pass out here towards the near sideline, and just, again, I think it was one of those situations where he looked upfield before he fully had it in his hands. There's a quarterback change for the Cougars. 2 plays into the second half. They haven't really managed to do too much out with it. Both the teams doing the usual point that they've got it. As of right now, the officials don't seem too concerned with trying to separate everybody. I think it's going to remain Cougars' ball.
I didn't initially see the fumble, but once everyone ended up diving at the ground, and a fumble has occurred when everyone on the field starts pointing in different directions thinking that they have the ball. It looked like this time the Cougars were pointing in their direction, and they, like you said, Todd, end up keeping the ball. But third down, so a big opportunity for the Cyclones to get a stop and get the ball back.
A 3rd down and 10. 11:30 to go in the third quarter. Clock is rolling. Another shotgun set. 2 to the outside on either side. High snap, still hauled down. They're going to go with a long bomb play, and it is disrupted. Big defensive stand there for the Cougars. Getting a hand up at the last moment was Bradley Randall to disrupt that play. That brings up 4th and 10.
Yeah, and right when that ball was thrown, I had a feeling that Randall would able to at least make a play on the ball, just given the size compared to the receiver. Randall a little bit bigger than that Cougar receiver. You mentioned earlier in the broadcast, tough to see numbers. Well, it's tough. We don't have the roster for the Cougars today.
Way to throw shade at them.
I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying.
A little shade.
Well, it's overcast today. There's already shade out there. It was raining earlier today. It's not the first time we've dealt with that problem. We've called games, hockey games for Maryville, where the other team, just wasn't in the cards that day.
Those games are always fun. But see, half the time those games you get the one where you think you have the roster, and then the numbers are completely different.
For sure.
Good run back here.
That might be a late hit. I'd throw a flag. There it is. There's a flag.
See, you brought it out. They heard your vibe. The run back went out to the 45, but it's going to go in favor of the Cyclones. So defense should be moving back here in a minute.
I'm still pretty caught up on your shoulder injury that you were telling me about. I'm just impressed that, you're still battling through such a vicious injury from years ago.
Well, the funny thing is, in that incident, I separated the right shoulder, but the left shoulder, somehow I managed to mess that up in the interim, just, I guess, overcompensating or something.
Soccer is such a violent sport.
See, apparently it is.
Compared to, of course, football. We all know that, right?
Hey, I didn't have pads on.
It is amazing just how physically demanding the game of football is, and these guys able to battle through injuries and stay out on the field and make plays. Ball went on the ground again, and it looks like the Cougars are coming up with it. So a huge defensive turnover right here for the Cougars. If the play stands, it looks like the offense is staying out for the Cyclones, so perhaps.
Yeah, I think they're going to call him down.
Yeah, knee was down.
Which is late as that ball came out, I kind of figured that might have been the case, but Isaac Sanchez was the quarterback on that play. We'll see whether or not that's kind of a permanent change or just kind of a play-by-play basis. He is going to stay out there now. It's 2nd and 8. Ball on the 36. Under 10 to go in the third quarter. Cyclones trying to get the offense rolling here in the second half. And now a little toss out to the outside, and it is caught. Forced out right around the 50. Not sure if they're going to give him the 50 or not. But a first down for the Cyclones.
Nice pitch and catch. Sanchez with a nice throw, who's in at quarterback now for the Cyclones. So a few different quarterback changes. We saw Bam Bam throw the interception in the red zone.
Just trying to get some different looks now on the offensive side for the Cyclones. Sanchez barking out orders. Got 2 receivers on both sides. Goes up the middle. That is caught by Scott. And he is still on the move. Finally taken down inside the 30-yard line. Another big gain for the Cyclones offense.
Yeah, great job by Scott to gain extra yardage right there. Evades a tackle, makes a man miss. Right up the sideline, able to get the chains moving, and this is exactly what the Cyclones needed. We mentioned the 2 previous drives resulting in turnovers. Of course, they're making their way towards the red zone right now. We'll see if they can find the end zone.
Scott hauls that one in as he was really smashed right when the ball came in. It's still a positive gain. They spotted at the 20. Cyclones going with a little bit more of a hurry up here. 2nd and 3. A little over 7.5 to go here in the third quarter. Cyclones on the move. Look to the left. Instead, they go right up the hash marks. And again, the catch is made right as the contact came. A good solid grab there. Hauling it in was Juwan Mr. Smith.
Uh-oh.
High snap. Sanchez trying to chase it down. He is on top of it, but a big loss on the miscommunication between the quarterback and the center.
Cyclones looking a little discombobulated at times here on offense. They've shown a lot of promise, some great throws, some good runs over the past few drives going back to the first half. But they've had trouble here in the red zone trying to find the back of the end zone. Now they have a long way to go to get that first down.
So the ball is on the 25, 2nd down. And it was 1st and goal on that play, so now all of a sudden there's no possibility of a first down here. But they find a man. It's Scott. He is tiptoeing along the sideline. Touchdown, Cyclones.
And Deion Scott, the one guy that probably deserved that ball to get into the end zone. He made 2 spectacular catches, able to take the hits, evade some players as the Cyclones drove down the field. So it only makes sense for him to be the one that finds the back of the end zone. a great throw by Sanchez and a great response by the Cyclones, who possibly could have came out with no points on that one, at least, not a touchdown. We know what the kicker for the Cyclones can do in Hatch.
So, yeah, that was quite the turnaround. You get the ball inside the 10-yard line, then all of a sudden you have basically a 15-yard loss. Ball was at the 25. And then you turn it into a 25-yard touchdown pass to Deion Scott. Extra point is good, and we have a 24-0 ball game.
It's no good, Todd. It looked like it went right through the uprights, but the referee said no good.
Yeah, what do they know? I'm up here in the booth. I said it was good.
You have the binoculars, as I see. Let me test these bad boys out.
They're not the highest quality.
Let's see here. Oh my! Do I have these on wrong?
Maybe you need contacts.
Maybe I need contacts.
Well, there's a little dial in the middle. You got to move that around.
Oh, is there? Okay. I don't. Oh, there we go. Oh, these are okay. Well, the way you had them, though, Todd.
I can't help it. That's how my vision is.
Get Claritin clear, Todd. I need contacts. Jeez.
Well, I'm wearing contacts.
Oh, yeah, these are nice. Kind of making my head hurt, though.
Yeah, you can't look through them too long.
No, I looked for a solid minute.
23-0 is your score after the missed PAT. Still a good turnaround for the Cyclones to get a touchdown out of that play. So the Cyclones have gotten points out of 4 out of their 8 offensive drives. So 50% of the time you're putting points on the board. That's not too bad of a day so far.
Yeah, and of course, you like what your defense is doing too. They have not allowed a point yet. And they're hoping for another shutout, as we saw last week against the Cobras. This defense can step up and make plays when needed, make stops, and not really allow the opponent to really get anything generated offensively. The Cougars have been pretty stagnant all day, not really able to get much going on the ground, through the air. You talked about the size advantage for the Cyclones. I think they have that on both sides of the ball. Watch the blitz here.
Linebacker pulls out of it, but they still get there. Oh, the pass over the middle is caught, hauled down around the 40-yard line. But a first down for the Cougars. Clock rolling at 5:40 right now. That is a generous spot as they put it at the 42. Cyclones set defensively again. Low snap this time. They're going to pass over to the right side. Rainbow pass and almost caught, but through the fingertips. So that'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, that ball was up in the air for a long time. A little too far out front. Have you noticed anything from the quarterback change from the Cougars' perspective in terms of their offense? Of course, haven't really done anything different, but
the completion percentage isn't necessarily better, but they look a little bit more comfortable with the current setup.
For sure.
2nd and 10, 5 minutes left in the quarter. Handoff up the middle, not too much going. They're going to get back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe a yard or two after that last little push. But that's still going to bring up a 3rd and long. Once again, I want to thank Midwest Pool Management for sponsoring the Missouri Cyclones. Midwest Pool Management aims to develop lasting relationships with their clients and ensure that your facility is safe and enjoyable without the client losing control or authority of their facility. Check them out at midwestpool.com. Another low snap. They're going to go with a quick pass out towards the right-hand side. Looking for a flag as that hit came up a little bit high.
Speaking of pools, Todd, I can't wait to get out, relax by the pool here in about a month. I believe the pool's open after Memorial Day, if I'm correct.
Normally that's the opening of the public pools, yeah.
Ready to get some sun, maybe order some hot shots, eat some food by the pool.
You're working all the angles.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I just say words sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you know, if I can't go into Hot Shots, I can order online at hotshots.net.
So they did end up calling a penalty on that one. Did you ever see a flag? I knew the officials were discussing something, but
Looked to be a face mask at the end of that run. I thought there might have been something, and you know, when there was a big commotion towards the end of that play, I figured the flag was coming out on the field. We've seen that a lot today. Penalties on both sides of the ball.
Cyclones force them into a false start. So it looked like they were going to bring some pressure, and that drew some motion, I believe, on the near side of the offensive line. So we go from 1st and 10 to 1st and 15. Push it back to the 48. So as well as the Cyclones have played on both sides of the ball, you kind of have to say that the Cougars have been their own worst enemy throughout most of the day.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. They have not really helped themselves out at all. You know, they get the 15 yards for the face mask, but then they're backing up again. And they're not making plays. They're not going upfield. They're going more horizontal instead of vertical on some of these plays, but it's probably just to get their receivers in rhythm and just try and get the ball in their hands, hoping that they can make a play.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of these swing passes to the outside that have been dropped. So, yeah, it seems like they want to get them at least comfortable catching. But in that instance, it doesn't help them out too much as they lose 2 yards. 2nd and 17 now. All on the 50-yard line. Still in the third quarter, 23-0 in favor of the Cyclones. Ball almost right in the middle of the field, slightly to the outside, and then the pressure forced an early throw there. Didn't come anywhere close to anybody. So that'll make it 3rd and 17.
There's that whistle. Whistles everywhere, Todd.
I think it's that kid on the side on the track down there.
Well, I think there's a few of them. I've seen a few.
Okay.
Few of the kids with the whistles, and of course, if I were a kid too, I'd be blowing the whistle as well.
Right now, I think the Cougars are hoping it's the final whistle.
Oh, Todd. Low snap.
And the pressure comes, and a big sack there for the Cyclones. They are fired up after that defensive stand. Coming up with the sack is Tez Roberts. He was so fired up he couldn't even get back to his feet. That'll make it 4th down. Punter is out. 4th and 22. Cyclones going to have a man back, and he's got his heels on the goal line.
Todd, I mentioned the whistle. Was there ever a toy you were fascinated with growing up? Maybe like a yo-yo?
I liked the Nerf football.
The Nerf football. Those things made me feel like I could throw a football better than I actually could.
Exactly. And this one bounces at about the 11-yard line. Cyclones take control of it. They're going to come over here towards the near hash marks. Space available along the near sideline. They're still going and taken down. 40-yard line on the positive side of things. A big return there for Gerald Hall.
Yeah, what a run by Hall. He waits for his teammates in front of him to block, and they find that seam, run right up the sideline. We've seen a few good returns from this Cyclone squad so far today, and that's only going to help their offense as they look to find the back of the end zone once again. Of course, last time Scott was the man who received the touchdown and made it a 23-0 game. Sanchez was the quarterback for the Cyclones. We'll see if he's back in or if Bam Bam gets the nod. And it looks to be Sanchez once again for the Cyclones.
Sanchez in the shotgun, one running back to his left. Getting the 4 wide receivers set, 2 on each side. Man in motion. Coming here over to the near sideline is Atkins. Sanchez stays in the pocket, finds his man over the middle, and he breaks a tackle. There's nothing but space in front. Touchdown, Cyclones.
What a play by Juwan. Mr. Smith stays getting those feet down, churning the legs. What a play. A nice throw, nice catch. But you have to give all the credit to Mr. Smith right there. He was not going to be denied the end zone. We have a injury on the play, but it looks like that Cougar defender is fine.
Injured his pride, I think.
He's a little upset he did not come up with the tackle. I think that's been the difference today for the Cyclones in terms of their offense compared to the Cougars is the ability to make players miss, the ability to keep the legs going and gain extra yards. And in that case, it winds up paying dividends for the Cyclones as they end up getting the touchdown.
So a long touchdown pass, second of the day for Sanchez. As Juwan Mr. Smith broke the tackle inside the 20 and then managed to get his way into the end zone. 29-0 right now with 64 seconds left in the quarter. We'll see if they can put another point on the board. This time it is good. I waited until I saw the referees this time.
Todd, that's the professional thing of you to do.
So that makes it 30-0 in favor of the Cyclones.
So now we're in the territory of can the Cyclones score more points than they did last week? They'll have about a quarter left to get 23 points to at least tie that 53 points they had last week. Maybe they come up with some defensive points here on this drive, perhaps a fumble recovery and run that back to the back of the end zone. Or maybe we see a pick six. We almost saw one late in the second quarter.
Yeah, I kind of think if you're going to get up that high in basically a quarter left, then it would take some defensive points just because most coaches will kind of call the dogs off after a while.
For sure, and we'll probably see a lot of ground game coming here in the fourth quarter.
But on the flip side, as well as they've done in the running game, then you might just break a couple tackles and get a quick one.
Also, I mean, you look at point differential, and we saw in the XFL that was a huge thing.
which I understood, but it just felt weird for a team that had such fan support, played so well, to not make the playoffs because of something like that. I think in hindsight, yeah, if the league officials with the XFL had known how things were going to turn out, they would have been like, well, I think St. Louis got some sort of edge.
Well, yeah. No, I agree. I mean, and it's not because I'm from St. Louis or anything, but
of course not.
We'll just leave that part out of it. But, yeah, I completely agree. I think the Battlehawks should have been in the XFL playoffs. They were a 7-3 team, and, you look at the Houston Roughnecks and the Arlington Renegades in the South Division. I don't think those teams were necessarily up to snuff compared to the Battlehawks. And we saw in that last week, granted, they played against the Orlando Guardians, who were one of the worst teams in the XFL. They put up a ton of points against them in the last week. And granted, they had to in order to get into the playoffs. But we saw what kind of offense they had. A nice wrap-up right there on the 21-yard line for the Cyclones as the Cougars now step onto the field once again as the offense looks to find some type of rhythm to get into on here as the seconds tick down in the third quarter. But, yeah, when you look at the Battlehawks offense, they put up a ton of points, and I'd expect the Cyclones to do something similar. I mean, last week, if it was any indication that they like scoring, 53 points, Todd, that's a lot. I don't see the Cyclones slowing down just because they're up 30-0. Of course, they're going to keep scoring.
Right, and when that's ultimately the name of the game, you might change up your playbook. You might call something a little more vanilla than you would otherwise.
For sure.
But, yeah, they're not going to not try to get in the end zone if they have the opportunity.
And with the way the running game has been, you can eat time as well as pick up a decent amount of yards, because we've seen what they can do on the ground today. It's been pretty remarkable.
55 seconds left in the third. Handoff goes up the middle. They break a little bit, close to a first down, probably be about 2, maybe 3 yards shy, depending on the spot.
That was one of the better runs for the Cougars today. They're hoping that they can get more of that here in the final quarter of the game, as there's about 35 seconds left to go here in the third.
Offensive line calling out assignments for the Cougars, but they don't seem in any big hurry, so I think they may just let the quarter run out. We'll wait and see. 20 seconds left. Now it does look like they might run the play, although there's a quick check. Now they are going to run it. Quick pass up the middle, and that is disrupted. Big collision. Jordan Miles coming in, timing that very well, not getting any kind of interference penalty.
Yeah, that was almost a nice snag right there for the Cougars, but Miles able to get the hit and break up that play. And we've seen receivers over the years at all levels have great hands, able to make great catches. We've seen a few great catches already today.
So another low snap, high rainbow pass. Receiver falls down. It's intercepted. Cyclones will have the ball going into the fourth quarter as they're forced out right around the 35-yard line. And the Cyclones have turned it over again, but this time in a good way.
Yeah, we talked about the defense making plays, and perhaps we would see a pick six. Not a pick six, but an interception for the Cyclones, and this defense has came to play today. And when the offense is unable to score, the defense comes up big.
So we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have your fourth quarter of action. Teams will flop sides. 30-0 in favor of the Cyclones after 3 quarters. This is Missouri Cyclones football. So Cyclones will have the ball on the, we'll call it 36-yard line. Sanchez is still the quarterback. Empty backfield. Everybody out in the flats. Takes the snap. Looking over the middle right now. Now he's going to scramble to the outside. Pass to the outside, and it is dropped.
Deion Scott unable to corral that ball. We've seen him make some great catches today. Unfortunately, on that last play, unable to come down with it.
Yeah, I think that's one he'd like to have back. This defender was within a couple strides, but he still had every opportunity to make that catch and maybe a decent run after the catch as well. But that'll bring up 2nd and 10. 14:50 left to go in the fourth quarter. Empty backfield again. 3 receivers to the outside on the right. That's on the far sideline. Sanchez takes a deep drop. Looks over the middle, and it is caught, but they're going to say that it contacted the ground, so that's incomplete.
Yeah, Jackson unable to come up with that. It looked like on the initial catch he bobbled it slightly and then trapped it on the ground because he did come up with it. However, it did touch the ground, so of course no catch on the play. So 3rd down here.
Well, we've kind of had some of our questions answered as to what their game plan would be, and they've had 2 straight passes to start the fourth quarter, so Cyclones not looking like they're going to take too much off the gas, but now there's an easy interception as that pass was way too high and out of the reach of all the receivers. So the turnover goes right back the other way, and the Cougars will have it.
So maybe a little momentum shift for the Cougars. Of course, they're down by a lot, 30 points. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to come back here in this one, especially with the way that their offenses looked today. But for the Cyclones, of course, you want to do the little things right, and right there, unfortunately, it did not go the right way for them. We'll see now how they approach their offensive game with the remaining amount of time left on the clock. If they do decide to run the ball, try and kill the clock off. But either way, I mean, they're sitting pretty right now, up 30.
A little under 14 and a half to go. Ball right on the 50-yard line. Cougars have changed their quarterback again. Looks like the starter's back out there. Pass to the outside hash mark. That's complete. That'll result in a first down for the Cougars. Gain of about 11. We're going to spot it at the 38-yard line. 1st and 10 coming up for Central Illinois. Man in motion coming over here towards the near side. Puts 3 receivers on the near side. They're going to go with a little dump off, and it's complete. Tackle made with some force right around the 32.
So this is the best that we've seen the Cougars look so far offensively. They elected to go back to their original starting quarterback.
Two receivers to either side, 1 running back. Clock rolling with under 13 to go. Good snap this time. They're going to go to the outside on a little wheel route, and it is another first down for the Cougars, taken down at the 17. Looks like we've got an injury timeout going on with 12:39 to go. That gives us an opportunity to thank our friends over at Gnomes Detailing. They are committed to offering you, the customer, the highest professional automotive detail services available in the industry. They strive to provide you with a quality service in a timely manner at a competitive price. Gnomes Detailing is here to offer the community a convenient, professional, ethical automotive detail service that is driven by a dedication to uncompromising, personalized customer service. Their commitment to continuous improvement of both service and product will be the roadmap to the future of their success. But a big thanks to all our sponsors that we've talked about throughout the day, because without them, we wouldn't necessarily be able to have the broadcast. So they're part of the reason that we're able to bring you Missouri Cyclones football.
And I thank them that, they gave me an opportunity to hang out with you again, Todd.
It's the highlight of your day, I can tell.
It really is. And, I thought I was going to have to go the entire summer without seeing you. But, for these few weeks here in springtime, I get to hang out with you and our producer, Eric Skelton, who does a great job putting this broadcast together. Always a fun time hanging out with you two gentlemen.
Going to go with another pass play towards the outside, and that was over the reach of everybody. Just trying to go to that far corner, but just a little too much mustard on it. Second and 10 coming up. Ball is on the 17. Cougars getting a late substitution. One running back to the quarterback's right. Defensive ends break the pressure, and they're going to haul him down. Lomax, as well as Roberts, were both in on the play. Lomax ended up as the one that hauled him down.
And just when you thought the Cougars were getting something going on offense, now they still have good field position. However, it's third down, a long way to go here. You have to assume that this is two-down territory for the Cougars. Maybe, depending on where this next play ends up resulting in, it could be one of those things where you just want to get on the board. You get a field goal. You don't want to get shut out. But you also you want to score if you're an offense. You definitely don't want to go the full day without finding the back of the end zone. And now the Cyclones, they've made it very tough on this Cougars team to do that all day long. So they're going to want to keep that shutout and try and go 2 weeks in a row.
So want to give credit where credit is due. It was Mo Perfetti who was also in on that play. So it was Lomax and Perfetti that will have to duel it out in the locker room to see who gets full credit for that sack.
And we want to thank our military men and women today as well. I found out from our producer that the whistles were given out by the Coast Guard, if I'm not mistaken, here at Suntrup Field.
So 3rd down and 21. So there is a potential for a first down for the Cougars, but they're going to have to pick up maybe more yards than they have all day.
Yeah, substantial amount of yardage for the Cougars to try and get that first down. That's why I'm thinking it might be 2-down territory here. You try and get maybe 6 to 10 yards right here, and then perhaps, and that's not going to help.
Low snap, pressure comes from the middle, and it's another sack for the Cyclones. Alex Beckett is the last man to haul him down. That's going to bring up 4th, and they're going to list it as 26th.
The Cyclones, I mean, they've done a fantastic job on defense all day long, and we don't want to take any away from them, but the Cougars have not helped themselves at all. You have a decent amount of time to draw up a play, and then to have that low snap, I mean, that's got to be demoralizing if you're on that sideline.
Yeah,
just nothing going all day long. You've had a few good defensive stops here in the second half, and a turnover, and you just haven't been able to do anything with it.
Yeah, we didn't have the opportunity to speak with them before the game, but as disjointed as the handoffs have been, I almost have to wonder if maybe they've got a backup center, or maybe it's just an off day.
And that happens. So they'll go for it on 4th down.
Going for the end zone, intercepted at the 5-yard line. Another pick for this Cyclones defense.
Jordan Miles coming up big for the Cyclones, gets the INT. And now the Cyclones will start with probably some of the worst field position they've had all day long inside their own 5-yard line, but they'll take that. I do want to ask you, though, Todd, on those 4th down plays, because I see this all the time in football, is when a defender will come up with the interception. However, on 4th down, simply knocking that down, you eliminate about 30, 40 yards worth of field position. It's always a good discussion to talk about.
I think it's one of those things where logically, yeah, you would go for the disruption, just knock it down.
It's easy to say after the play happens, for sure. But in the moment,
you're
you want to make the play.
When you're the man in the secondary, and you want that stat, it's hard to just sit there and be like, okay, it's coming right at me. I'm going to just push it away.
Yeah, exactly.
Handoff comes up the middle, and it's a big gain there, close to a first down, and I think the second effort pushed it over the 10 yards. So a good run there, I believe, for Dre Johnson.
And, of course, you have faith in your offense to get you out of a jam like that, in which the Cyclones just did. We'll see if this penalty that was just flung onto the field, that flag will come back to bite them at all. Looks like they're going to be walking it back, so perhaps it is on the Cyclones.
And I have to figure that was no matter who it was on. But so, yeah, that had to have been something said after the play, or maybe taunting or whatnot, but that negates a big gain. So we'll essentially just do it again. 1st and 10 on the 8-yard line. So a 3-yard difference. Sanchez has got 2 running backs on either side. He's going to go for the pass. That's complete to the near sideline. Hauled in by Atkins. He'll get on the north side of the 15. So they gain the penalty yardage back, and that's going to put it at 2nd and 9. Again, 2 in the backfield, only 1 to the outside on the far sideline. It's hauled in. And a good second push It's going to gain a first down for the Cyclones.
So a good day for the Cyclones all around. Good offensive day. I thought the defense has played really good today. I mean, they've looked fantastic today, and we talked about it earlier. You know, you look at a game like last week, a 53-0 win. Yeah, that looks great on the offense, but, you know, the 0, that speaks highly about what this defense is able to do.
Handoff goes over towards the far hash marks. It'll be a solid game of about 3 yards. Bring up 2nd and 7 with about 7.5 to go. Right now it seems like the Cyclones are kind of in damage control mode in the offense, just running out the clock a little bit. Some conservative passes as well. Sanchez takes the snap, hands it off. Not going to get things rolling.
Yeah, it looks to be a false start.
So that'll push him back. And I think if the coaching staff has one thing that they're going to point out in the next practice, it's going to be a lot of these penalties that have not only negated plays before they even happen, but negated big plays when they did happen.
Yeah, we go back to first quarter. You look at a 4th and 2. You end up getting the first down, but it comes back. And then you have another opportunity to go for it on 4th down in the second quarter, and it ends up going by the wayside because of a false start.
So we've got 2nd and 12. 7:03 left. Sanchez gets the play that he likes. He's going to go with a little pass over towards the near side. That is way too tall. A lot of these receivers for the Cyclones have got some pretty good verticals, but I don't think anybody was going to haul that one in.
No, that one was a little too tough, a little too high to jump up and grab, but you know, that's it. That'll happen, Todd. Can't be perfect on every play.
Sanchez is back under it. More of a pistol this time. He's going to air it out towards the near sideline, and that is over everybody. Trying to go for Dom Atkins, but again, just a little too much on it.
So the Cyclones, I mean, they have elected to not run the timeout, run the ball. They're really wanting to up the ante here. They want to score as many points as they can, and they believe right now in order to do that is through the air.
To the offensive credit, this is very unofficial because my stats aren't necessarily the best. I believe this is the first time they've actually had to punt. Low snap, still taken. There's a big kick, angled towards the near sideline, and that takes a good Cyclones bounce. Went out right around the 27. They might put it at the 28. It's still a good flip of field position there.
Todd, I think you might be right. I also think my memory is also really bad, much like your eyesight.
Mine's not that bad.
Well, I looked through those binoculars earlier in the game, and it was tough.
Those things adjust on their own, though.
Do they?
A little bit.
Again. Let's see if they've changed at all. No. All right.
You've got some narrow eyes, too. Like I had to,
What are you saying?
I had to pull them back out. They spotted it at the 28. Cougars ball. 1st and 10, 6:36 left to go in the fourth.
So I was watching, obviously the music's playing right now, and I've got a little pep in my step, but I was watching the NBA playoffs last night. Of course, had the Suns taking on the Nuggets, and the Suns managed to grab the win last night on home court. But, you know, you watch an NBA game, they play music throughout the game, and it makes you sort of wish they did that in other sports, too. It's like a different kind of environment. I think it would be interesting to see something like that happen. And I think the one game you could probably do it with is I would think football. Or do you think there's too much communication going on the field in order for something like that to happen?
Yeah, I think it would probably end up trying to be too much of a competitive advantage for the home team because you got the crowd noise anyway, and then not that I would mind as a
fan,
spectator,
I think it'd be great, yeah.
But I could understand that there would be complaints, and now we've got another penalty.
I mean, sometimes for opposing teams, it's already difficult to hear, you know, your coaches talking to you in your helmet if you're a quarterback, trying to play, you know, trying to make a call. Of course, a quarterback needing to communicate with the center when to get the snap off in time. So maybe adding music would be a bad idea. However, I am in favor for it because I like to have a little bit of a rhythm myself, Todd. And I think that's why they do it for the basketball games. You know, you have a little rhythm going with the music.
So do they? I haven't caught an NBA game in a while, at least a full one with the sound on. Usually it's on at the gym or something.
Yeah.
Do they literally do like
they're playing music
the
during
N1,
the game.
so like they'll bring it up the court and the music will be going?
Yes, there's like music playing. And sometimes you'll get the clap,
yeah.
da, whatever. But there is like music going on in the game, which I have always found fascinating because I don't believe they do that for college basketball, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, because I'm pretty sure And One was the one that started it.
Have you seen the that documentary on?
No, I haven't.
I believe it's Netflix. There's a documentary on And One and how it came to be, and then how it ended up disbanding.
Yeah, I've seen it listed. I just haven't taken the time to watch it, but
it's pretty good. I really enjoyed it. Netflix has a pretty decent variety of sports documentaries.
There was a little bit of a scuffle over here on the near sideline, but James Lober was taking his man down, the receiver over here on the near side.
I believe and for people watching right now, if they want to go check out some of those Netflix documentaries, it's the Untold series, and I believe there's a Manti Te'o one as well, talking about what he went through when he had the fake girlfriend.
Right, I did watch that one. That was pretty
so
good.
It's the same group of I guess producers that end up. It's a series, and the And One documentary is part of that series.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting one because I know when it happened, everybody was like, "Oh, how could anybody fall for that?" And it's like when you're in that situation,
right.
You ignore the red flags, and the one that I still don't understand is the person that can do that.
Yeah, well,
obviously that was a high-profile case, but
for sure,
it's happened to lots of people around the world.
And you know, we live in such a social media-driven society that things were different back when that was going on. Facebook wasn't what it was. Twitter wasn't what it was. I don't even think Instagram was around back then. Maybe it was.
Yeah. Well,
TikTok definitely wasn't.
No,
but,
yeah.
Things were just different. And looking back at it now, after watching the two-part documentary, it can understand how it ended up happening. But, yeah, no, it's a great great series for sure. They had, what's his name? Is it Tim Donaghy?
Oh, the NBA official.
Referee.
I watched
one's
that
on
one
there too. That one's a good one. So some good ones for sure for those that want to watch those.
I saw one that was about the corruption inside of FIFA, which is the governing body.
Yeah, that one was too long for me. That was like a 10-episode one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it definitely stretched out. But
I started to watch it around the World Cup. Good tackle.
Still not brought down, but it might have been the better choice to just go down on the initial chance, as they're going to lose about 5 yards on that play after what would have been a small gain. There is a player for the Cyclones down on the far side.
Yeah, you mentioned the FIFA one, and I started to watch that around the World Cup just because I wanted to get into the spirit of things. So why not watch, a documentary about a bunch of people illegally doing stuff?
Right. Yeah.
Doing
essentially
illegal stuff.
like soccer's version of politicians.
Yeah.
Just
so that was really
taking all the money and
really captivating. But I didn't make it the whole way through. But maybe one of these days I will. A pretty good start for the Cyclones here at home. We mentioned earlier that this is not technically the home field for the Cyclones. What did you say happened, Todd? A little miscommunication on the booking side of things, or?
Yeah, apparently they had double booked at the normal home site for the Cyclones, and for whatever reason, Cyclones got the short end of the stick on that. And came over here to Dismet, and it's worked out pretty good.
Well, the field is nice. You mentioned earlier you like the different colors.
Yes, but I like it when it's different colors but more subtle. Like I feel like, who is it? Oregon? I think they're.
Do they have something similar?
Yeah, but theirs is almost like, I think their off color is more towards yellow almost.
Oh, that's.
So yeah, it's a little harsh on the eyes.
You must love the Boise State field.
See, I don't really mind that one.
Really?
It sets everybody else off. But
yeah.
Now the one that the one that I think is ridiculous, I think it's
Eastern Washington.
Are they the red one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
was going to say it was
field.
Western Kentucky, but it might be Eastern
Why don't
Washington.
we do a little Google search here real quick?
But yeah, I don't know what the difference is, blue versus red, but like I don't mind the Boise State.
Eastern Washington. It just looks gloomy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It just looks
red
very
is
gloomy.
just kind of an odd and it's funny because red is one of my favorite colors, but in terms of a field, it just
does not fit. Football should be played on a green field, in my opinion. Now, let's see if you were right as well. Western Kentucky, you said. Home of Bailey Zappi, who is the backup quarterback for the Patriots.
That's one thing I always find interesting about the NFL is how many players actually come from smaller schools like that.
Yeah.
Because when you're going through recruiting, everybody's like, oh, I want to play for Alabama or Michigan or Ohio State or
For
whoever.
sure.
But then it's like you look at the NFL and some of the bigger names end up actually being from like Eastern whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one thing that we talked about earlier in the broadcast. These guys out here, not only do they love the game, but, they're trying to play to get to that higher level. And you look at players that go to smaller schools in college, they end up making it to highest level in the NFL. It all comes down to work ethic. It doesn't matter what school you go to. Of course, that helps as there's a drop pass. It helps, of course, to be able to be coached by some of the best in the nation, but all it comes down to is work ethic and the amount of time that you put into the game. And it doesn't matter what level you're at, people are going to notice that.
So we'll let fans know that there's a good homestand coming up here for the Cyclones throughout May. They'll be taking on the Generals next Saturday, and then the Cobras on Saturday, May 20th, before going back on the road to start June.
And the Generals 0-2 so far, only 8 points for. So a good little stretch for the Cyclones. Might be seeing zeros on the other side of the scoreboard for some of these opponents.
So if you want to come out and watch a good brand of football, come on out to Lutheran St. Charles next Saturday. Obviously, stay tuned to the Missouri Cyclones social media networks for any potential changes on that. But as of right now, that is their home field and where we hope to see you coming up the next couple Saturdays.
And, of course, if you can't, we'll be here with you right on the broadcast.
People are probably trying to get away from us, though.
Probably.
Me, anyway. I don't know.
No. Don't sell yourself short, Todd.
Quarterback was hit as the pass came out, and that's going to lead to an interception. Another pick for this Cyclones defense.
And there's the turnover chain. Keelan Smith with a great catch, able to track that ball down. It looked like it might have been tipped coming out of the hand, or maybe one of the Cyclones got a hand on that as it was being released, because it didn't seem like he got a ton out of that. But either way, another turnover for the Cyclones. This defense continues to impress, and as time ticks down, we'll see what the Cyclones do. They've been throwing the ball a lot, even though they've been up 30. We'll see if they continue to do that. There's only 2:48 left on the clock. Or will they run the ball and just run the time off and pick up the W? Either way, a W is coming their way.
They've had some good success on the ground, but to your point, they've looked to air it out quite a bit, especially here late in the game, trying to get more points on the board in a quicker fashion.
I like scoring, Todd. I like when my favorite team scores.
I think that's true of most fans.
Yeah, well, as some fans, as you know, some fans here in the city of St. Louis not too fond of their favorite baseball team. And some fans, you'd be surprised, love the negativity. They love when their team loses because they want to be right.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. Makes no sense.
Especially in the world that you come from on the talk radio side. That just your ratings are probably through the roof when teams are doing bad.
The ratings, if they're high, it's because the people want to tune in and give their opinions and whatnot, and we appreciate that. And no, it's definitely been an interesting time, but we don't have to worry about that here watching these Cyclones, because they're up 30 right now with 2:03, 2:02 is a 2-minute warning approaches, and that's exactly what we'll get.
Sanchez picked up a 5-yard run on the scramble play. We'll have to wait till the other side of the 2-minute warning to get another offensive showing from the Cyclones. But it's funny that you brought up the Cardinals, because I was almost going to when we were talking about offense. Baseball is one of those weird sports to where you like to see offense, but 12, 14 runs, that's almost kind of comical. Like it's like, okay, this isn't really baseball anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what side of things you're on, right?
Even when the Cardinals were putting up that many runs, I was just like, okay, yeah, that's fun, but it just seems weird. Like, I'd be happy with like a 5-3 kind of game.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Preferably on the right side of it. But
yeah, well, that hasn't happened in quite some time. I do believe, and for Cardinal fans out there that are tuning in, the Cardinals are winning right now 5-3 in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Well, that'll stay until like the 8th or 9th inning, and then
don't be so negative now. Adam Wainwright in his return to the big leagues after being on the IL. He's gone 5 innings. He's given up 6 hits. All 3 of those runs earned, but he struck out 5.
Sanchez soars another one over his intended target over on the far hash mark. I believe he was going for Deion Scott again. That's kind of been the only negative I think you could say on the offensive side of the ball is whether it was Bam Bam or Sanchez. They've overthrown some of their receivers. Some of those were unavoidable because you're trying to get it around a defender, but some of these, especially later in the game, it seems like they've just been kind of a little too antsy. They're down, 5 to go. All on the 49. And we'll get a whistle. Play will not take place, and it's going to be another false start. Referee's just going to hold on to the flag. It's like, I got it out of my pocket. That's good enough. So that'll make it 3rd and 10. So even though it's been a little bit of a disjointed end of the game, the Cyclones are going to improve to 2-1 on the season. And again, with the Generals coming to town, you never want to take anything for granted, but statistically that should be a positive game for the Cyclones coming up next week as well. And I can just feel the fans being like, what are you talking about? can't say that. Pass over the middle, and that is caught. It's going to be a first down for the Cyclones. Good grab there for Orlando Jackson. And we're going to get a timeout taken with 1:06 left to go here in the contest.
You know, we've mentioned a few times the Cyclones still continuing to try and score. And, you know, with the way that these games have been going for the Cyclones, it doesn't necessarily give them the opportunity to run a 2-minute offense of sorts. So if you want to get some game-like action running a 2-minute drill with your offense, it might end up paying off later in the season when you're playing some of the better teams in the league. But you know, right now they can kind of get a little bit of aggressive if that is their approach. Just being that they're up by 30, you don't mind if you end up throwing a pick. Obviously, you don't want to, but if it happens, it happens.
And to your point, I almost kind of think some of the idea behind not taking your foot off the gas is to keep yourself engaged in the game. Like, don't allow those mistakes to creep in. And because you got to force good habits.
I mean, this is the best way to practice, essentially, is in a game that at the end of the day, the game is over. There's a minute left. You're up by 30. This is the best game-like situation you're going to get.
That pass is batted down, and it is going to fall incomplete. So decent pressure coming from the defensive line, getting up in Sanchez's face before he could fully get himself comfortable. But these players, they know what the deal is, and the coaching staff knows what they want out of them as well. Back-to-back national champions in 2021 and 22. And several in addition to that, dating back to 2006. So this Cyclones program knows what it takes to win. 1 minute exactly left. 2nd and 10. Ball on the 38. There's an injury timeout, so the Cougar being helped over on the far sideline. Again, if you're in the area and just couldn't make it out to the game, but you're free after this, come on out to Hot Shot St. Charles for the post-game party. Sanchez hands it off. Dre Johnson was hauled down, so no gain. Third and 10. Clock is rolling with 30 seconds left. See whether or not they even bother taking one more snap. Referee hasn't even put the ball down. Cyclones do come out. 6 seconds left. And I think they signaled for a timeout, but so they're going to put 7 seconds on the clock. And they're going to go for a field goal.
Well, every point counts, Todd.
The the guys carrying the sticks, they're already done for the day. They're coming over here towards the near sideline. So that's going to lead to a 55-yard attempt. He did hit one at this distance in warm-ups.
If he does hit it, it'll be a record.
Now they've moved him back a yard, so it'll actually be 50, closer to 56.
All right, this is what we came to see. Got the full course meal today from the Cyclones. A big win for them, and now you get a little bit of added dessert. We'll see if we can see this long field goal go through the uprights.
So they got the kick formation out there. 46-yard attempt coming up. Ball is down, kick is up, it's a line drive, and it's not going to have enough. There was just a little bit of wind aiding him, but couldn't get the ball up high enough. So that will run out the clock. So a little bit of a disappointing end in that fourth quarter in terms of the offensive output, but ultimately a pretty good day at the office with a 30-0 victory.
Yeah, big win for the Cyclones. Adding on to what was a great win last week. And we'll see if they can get the job done again next week as well. It should be a fun one hanging out with you, Todd, and all of our viewers.
It was a good time, Marshy. Glad that you could join us here. And once again, a 30-0 win for the Cyclones as they improved to 2-1 on the year. Again, they'll be at home again. That game should be at Lutheran St. Charles next weekend against the Generals, who have yet to pull off a win. We'll see what their record is after this weekend's action. But right now, they will be the underdogs against your Missouri Cyclones. For everybody here, we hope you enjoyed today's contest. It's another win for your Cyclones as they push for a potential third straight national championship. But right now, the season is young. Stay tuned right here to your YouTube page for all the action on the home side of things. For Andrew Marsh, I'm Todd Panula. We thank Eric Skelton for making us look good behind the scenes. For everybody involved with the Missouri Cyclones football program, we thank you for watching. And until next weekend, have a good one, everyone.